Got everyone? Guys feel good? Okay. All right, let's go through our list here. Okay, so starting with did not practice, guys. Juwan Johnson, ankle. Trevor Penning, ankle. Dylan Radoon's toe. Caesar, ankle. And Chase Young, calf. Caesar and Chase won't play this game, so those guys will be out. And then limited guys were Trey Palmer with an ankle, Justin Reed with a knee, Isaac Yadam with a hamstring, and then we had our three limited guys who are coming off the injury status of some kind, Taysom, Foster, and then Ridgeway. So they were able to hop out there and practice a little bit. So obviously they're working through that process. So that's the status. Any questions?
Anything new happened with Chase for him to be declared out already?
No, nothing. No, same process. He's been doing an awesome job through this recovery process. I think sometimes these timelines, we can't get caught up into narrowing our focus. We got to let it play itself out. Everyone's different, but he's doing an awesome job. He's doing an awesome job, and when he's available and ready, he'll hop out there as soon as he is. So
that's a different injury for Penning, ankle rather than toe.
Yeah, it's not the toe. Yeah, it's just something that came up.
What did you feel like you saw out of, or what did you like about what you saw from Taysom and Foster in their return? I know it's the first time.
Yeah, they actually were wearing pads and a helmet, so it's the first time I've gotten to see them do that. So it's just good to see them out there. Obviously, they got to kind of get back through this process. To miss training camp and all these days, they got a lot of stuff just to catch up on. But I think it's just good for them, just kind of, knock the rust off, so to speak, get them moving. For Ridgeway too, he's been out for a number of weeks now, and so for those three guys, just to get them back, start getting them acclimated, I think obviously the timeline will allow us to do that.
How do you try to acclimate somebody when they can't practice until a certain time and they haven't played done anything football related for close to a year? How do you acclimate that?
Yeah, it's tricky. Obviously, through the medical side of it, the rehab, they're working through as much as they can from that standpoint. The weight room, and then it's just on an individual basis, there are different opportunities where they can find ways to just keep getting prepared and keep getting ready. And so those guys have done an incredible job. I think just to be out there in pads, wearing a helmet today, I think speaks to how much work those guys have put into this.
Today, Jackson Dart talked about how he had a good visit to New Orleans during the draft process. What do you just remember about him during the draft process?
Yeah, we had a chance to go over to his pro day. I thought he just did an excellent job. He's an awesome kid. Have really enjoyed watching him through his journey from, all the way back to Corner Canyon in Utah to USC to Ole Miss. He's had just an incredible career. He's an awesome kid. He works his tail off. He's a really smart football player. I think that was, when we get to go through that process with players, you get to really dig into, how much football do they know, how much can they process, and I was blown away with how much he knew. And so I thought he was really prepared for this league. Obviously, he's hopped on his first opportunity, got a win. He's going to be a really good quarterback in this league.
What stuck out to you the most in your evaluation process about him that impressed you? And I mean, did he get an overall good grade from y'all and the rest of these guys?
Yeah, I think as we went through that process, he was one of the top quarterbacks in this draft, obviously. And so, he's got the ability to make every throw. He can throw it really, really well. I think his ability to play with his legs is a really special component. I think he can run the football really well. He's smart when he does. He makes great decisions. I think he's got a quick ability to get the ball out of his hand, and so he's done a ton of things. And obviously, they're going to be able to create this offense and mold it, in his liking. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage for those guys.
You and your staff have a lot of ties to that Mountain West area. Did you know? You just referenced his high school and kind of the beginning. You're busy with your own job and your own professional life. Did you know much about him before really digging into it last year? No,
I'd never met him. Just kind of followed his career. He was a big-time high school quarterback. Went to USC. Kind of followed his career as he went. Had a lot of appreciation for what he had accomplished at all these stops, and so he's just done a heck of a job.
With Spencer, he's shown noticeable improvement this year, but the win still hasn't come. How do you kind of wrestle that as a coach?
Yeah, I think when when I come into this, experience here, showing up in February, I mean, what happened in the past, obviously, is relevant, but it's only a piece of the puzzle. And so, for Spencer and I, we're 0 for 4, and so we've missed 4 opportunities. I think he's obviously grown a ton through this whole entire process and journey. I thought he's played a lot of good football. Ultimately, quarterbacks and coaches, and we all know, the wins are the most important thing, and that's what we're all judged by. But I think he's progressing in the right direction. He's making the right progress each and every week, and so I think it's only a matter of time before he gets that opportunity, which he deserves.
Is that progress like one of the reasons why you haven't thought about making a change?
Yeah, no, he's done a nice job. Obviously, he's a young quarterback. Nothing's going to go perfect. We understand that, and we don't have that expectation. We understand he's going to grow each and every game. Again, he's done a lot of good, and so he's put us in positions to win these games. We just haven't gotten it done.
I'm kind of curious about like the weight of the losses too. Like you started 2 games in your career, you didn't win them. Like do those losses stick with you? Like does it bother you that you never won an NFL game?
We're all chasing wins. That's ultimately what we're trying to do. That's everyone's aspiration. But understand circumstances happen. If you don't get the win, you're on to the next opportunity. And I think Spence's mindset through this whole process has been phenomenal. I thought that was one of the things that I loved. When I got a chance to kind of start teaming up with him during the offseason, was just the way he prepares, the way he handles himself is just awesome.
Did you guys make some concentrated changes with the run game this past week? Some more heavy, a lot of pre-snap motion, some more zone runs. Was that just because of the opponent, or stuff you guys identified as stuff?
I would say there's a combination of weeks. I did feel like I needed to go on, my reflection, I think I've mentioned this, is playing at Seattle. We were mostly all in the shotgun. I felt like I need to get us under center a little bit more, especially playing on the road in these tough environments, to be able to use cadence at least a few times. Felt like our guys, with the motions, we felt like a little bit of a game plan opportunity that we felt very good about. Felt like it was productive for us. I thought our guys ran the football well. Scheme-wise, I thought, yes, that game did present some more zone schemes, but I think at the same time, every week's going to present some different challenges, and you're going to have to play in some different schemes. But I thought there's a lot of positives we can grow on from that game.
For Sheed getting involved in the run game too, like how much of that was emphasis of trying to get him the ball more just because of these deep shots?
I think it's just complementary football. The way we're running the football, there's certainly some handoffs to the receivers in some of those actions that would provide us some easy yards, and hopefully we can get some positive yards out of it. If one of them pops into explosive, awesome. I thought it just tied everything together really well last week.
It seemed kind of obvious, but is like your ability your desire to want to be multiple gap and zone scheme allow you to kind of be flexible depending on the opponent?
Yeah, we understand every week's going to be different. They're going to present different challenges, and certainly from a outside zone perspective, we probably had a higher percentage last week, and there was obviously some positives there. So we recognize that, but at the same time, these guys got some really big challenges as well. These guys got premier edge rushers. They got one of the best interior players in our entire league. Structurally, they'll play a little bit different than certainly Buffalo did, and so it'll be a fun challenge for us.
Looking at the scrambles, are there times do you kind of grade it as a kind of a good scramble or a bad scramble? Is it based on the result? Like if there's a situation where there's a big play, you're scrambling, like how do you kind of weigh that?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple parts to it. Obviously, the original play, the original intent of the play, and if it's if you have the ability to execute it, obviously we want to execute that. We don't want to take that for granted. But after that, really, it's about decision making in the scramble phase. Your ability to either throw the football or run the football. I think Spence has made some positives there. I think we've grown a little bit in this actual scramble phase as far as the pass game component of it. Sheed had one in our game where we ended up in a scramble, and he was able to get the completion on our sideline. That's an area we can keep growing, because I do think the best quarterbacks in this league, the best offenses, they utilize that scramble drill and create some explosive plays because of it.
Are there plays where you wish you'd stay in there a little longer?
None that jump off the top of my head right now. I thought he used his legs really well. Especially on first and second down, there were some play action plays where we're trying to get those explosive opportunities downfield. Play a little coverage. There's a little bit of unorganized football going on with the rush, and he's able to find the void and make some plays. So I thought those were really positive plays for him.
Kellen, with Taysom being so unique, you were going to have him available to work plays on the field in the offseason. Are you still trying to draw up things for him, or is his role just going to have to be limited by necessity since you didn't get those?
I think it'll just be a process as we, kind of build it as we go. Obviously, he's got a lot of stuff just from a physical standpoint to get acclimated, and then we'll just see how it goes. And obviously, he's got a lot of stuff that he's done in his past. And he just plays a lot of other positions. He's a unique player. Certainly I've never coached a guy or been around a guy who plays this many positions. And so, I think it's really us just working together as we kind of build this thing in the future and put him in the best position to be successful.
I apologize if we asked this before. Does he have a primary position for you? Tight end or quarterback?
We put him as a quarterback because that's obviously what most of his career he's been positioned as, because obviously he's got a lot of experience there, and so within that he obviously plays a number of other positions, and so I think where he's listed as a starting point and where he goes is every single week, as we all know.
21 days to work with it, but
Yeah.
do they have a shot at point?
We'll see. I mean, these guys came off of ACLs, knee injuries. It's been a long road, and so I'm excited just to see him out there playing football. And we know there's a process with this.
Is special teams still a possibility for Jason?
Yeah, certainly that's always been a portion of his role, and so obviously there's been a lot of positives because of his ability to play on that. And so, again, this is going to be a thing that we have to go through this process. This is his first day out there in pads, since December. And for Foster the same way.
Did Trevor avoid kind of that high ankle sprain?
We'll just kind of see how it all progresses. I think he's trending well.
And Kellen, this is the first game that you've been favored in. Does that sort of increase the sense of urgency for this game for you?
No. I really haven't thought about that one bit. So, yeah, I think obviously our guys know we've made some progress. I thought there was progress made last week. We didn't get the ultimate job done, but I thought there was progress. I think our guys should have confidence coming out of that game in Buffalo that we're close, and obviously the opportunity presents ourselves to go play against a really good team, Giants. They just beat a team in the Chargers who everyone thought was one of the best teams in this league, playing as well as anyone, and they were able to come out and play those guys really, really well. And so that's the NFL. Every week's going to be a fun challenge.
I know you were very complimentary of Jackson, but how much of an advantage comes with playing against, rookie QB that's only made one NFL start, his first road start? I mean, how much of an advantage can be put into that?
Yeah, I think it's just the element of unknown more than anything. Their style, the way they play on offense is going to evolve over the next few weeks just because, his first game, they're going to get him settled in, and then they're going to be able to add different tools and pieces to his game. And so I think the mystery of it is a little bit more of a challenge than anything. I think he's going to make some really good plays. He's going to make some explosives. Like any young player, they may make a mistake. He'll handle it. He'll handle it really well. This guy's wired really, really well in this league, and so it's going to be a challenge for us.
Look at Simpkins in a couple of really difficult environments. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, we liked him coming. He showed up through training camp, through preseason. He's just been a really steady player. He's played in some challenging circumstances the last 2 weeks. He's handled it, in my opinion, really well. And if he's called upon, he'll be ready to go and play at a really high level.
This defenses play Rashid like differently than last year. I know you talked about the lack of explosives before, but like just the way that they're paying attention to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think something certainly we haven't had the opportunities downfield. The true deep goes, the deep posts, those opportunities. And I think we're still chasing them. And when they're there, they'll present themselves. And so we just got to give ourselves more opportunities at it, and we'll just see how it all progresses. But she's done an awesome job. He's playing really well.
What are the pros and cons of play action from shotgun versus under center? What's the difference between the two?
I think the most important thing is it's just tying it with whatever your run game is for that particular week. And so, like last week, our under center game with more of the outside zone, there was obviously movements that could tie well together. Gun at times, you can create more of the gap scheme actions that, tie in some of that stuff. QB can see it maybe a little bit cleaner if it's downfield because his eyes obviously are going to stay a little bit more downfield in the gun. Again, I think it's the beauty of it is we not need to have a combination of this. And I think, we're starting to find that nice little balance here moving forward.
Can you manipulate more with the back turn at all? I know that's a theory some people have.
Yeah, well, I think they can lose the ball a little bit more in the gun. That's just my opinion. In the gun, they can treat you a little bit more like RPO, so there may be less movement by the defense because they're seeing your eyes and seeing you read them. Under center is probably a little bit more movement by the defense. So there's pros and cons to both of those situations. You can control backers, control safeties, maybe a little bit more in the gun at times. If you want to move them, under center probably gives you a little bit more.
You touched on the team's leadership council the other day. How did that come about? Was that something you wanted to do as soon as you got here, or did it did you need to get to know the players first?
It started as soon as we got here, and then after a couple weeks, we kind of let everything start building. Then we got into it, and then it's evolved. A few people have been added as we've gone through this process.
Did the coaches add? Like, were the coaches responsible for picking the players on it?
There's just like kind of a small group initially, and then after that, really the players have taken it over.
How has that particular group helped the coaches and you through these first 4 games?
Yeah, I think it's important just to make sure we're all on the same page. We're all growing together. They help me just kind of have a feel for logistics, different ways we can improve ourselves as far as just operationally, and just make sure we're all on the same page. And so we got an awesome leadership group. I think that's the beauty of our team, is to be sitting there and have missed 4 opportunities, and the energy and the juice that our team has out of practice, I think shows great leadership, great players, great people, and that's all you can ask for.
Going back to Spencer's work ethic, what about it stands out to you? Like, is it the amount of time he's watching on the iPad? Is it the time he gets to? Like, what's kind of the general table?
Yeah, I think he just does an excellent job. He utilizes every tool imaginable between film, walkthrough, virtual reality, classroom. I think Scott Tolzien is awesome for our quarterback group. That room, Scotty does an awesome job just preparing these guys and putting them in really good situations to be prepared. And, I think his resiliency is awesome. I think his ability to handle the highs and lows of games is really special. I think that's an important part of playing quarterback, is not everything's going to go perfect. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to have a challenging circumstance. You're going to have a little lull in a game where you're not quite executing at a high enough level. And for him to just, be able to handle those, keep moving, I think it builds confidence in himself, but more importantly, I think everyone else feeds off of that and feels that.
Is this Giants defensive front kind of unique in just that you've invested so much in the outside, they already have like the big all-pro on the inside, and you see a lot like this? They got
some of the best players in our league, premier players. They have a couple tools. They have some different tools where they can, get them all on the field at the same time, which is obviously going to stress you from a protection standpoint. And again, they're trying to create as many one-on-ones for these guys because obviously they're really talented, and so it'll be a fun challenge for us up front.
You guys do this not quite the same, but with Granderson kicking inside. What do you guys call that? The last coach that got staff called it NASCAR. What if we're using describing it?
Yeah, there's a few different names. I mean, we got a lot of different packages, I think, just for all those third downs, just because there's different combinations of D linemen, linebackers. I think that's the fun thing that our defense enjoys, when you get in those advantageous situations to be able to play, some different guys in some different positions, create matchups. I think is a huge advantage. Grando had that great rush from inside over the guard against them. The play before Cam makes the play off the edge, and so we're starting to get there.
Didn't know when writing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of names. So yeah.
When you look at the throughout the Seattle game, the other 3 games, have you identified red zone execution as a major factor in those games? Is that something that you're having to work on more?
Well, I think situational football has come up, and so whether it be third downs or red zone, obviously those are the hard downs. We always think of them as hard downs, critical downs. They're not easy. We got to execute at a little bit higher level there, because obviously we've missed a couple opportunities there. Really, we were 2 for 4, if I remember right, last week. Seattle, obviously, we weren't able to handle the situations early, and then it got away from us. So,
just to do due diligence on Chase, because the timeline's difficult. Is IR consideration at all? And
no, we're fine roster wise. So he's doing everything he needs to do.
What goes into making that decision? Not specifically around Chase, but just using the IR slots, knowing that they're limited, looking at your roster. What all do you have to consider?
Yeah, there's only so many spots. I think you nailed it. There's only so many spots and ways to get people back. You want to be careful about how many of them you use early, and then because you're going to stress your roster then later in the year. And so we have a couple options available to us right now that could potentially come back if we need to at some point, and then it gives us the flexibility as we go. Again, I don't think we've been constrained from a roster standpoint with Chase's situation. We've been able to activate guys and play with the roster a little bit to get the roster that we need, and so I think we do an excellent job with that.
So when you're making that decision with any individual player, you're taking into consideration the entire roster, and if the entire roster is in good shape or not. There's an evaluation to be done.
Yeah, I mean, we have to have inactives every week, and so we understand that sometimes it doesn't have to be just healthy inactives. That you can have a guy sit there if the opportunity presents itself, and we feel like everything else is in a good situation, and so we've allowed time to kind of play itself out here, and we've been just fine at the edge rush.
I kind of had maybe a quick philosophical question here. You've been exceedingly positive, talking about Chase is doing an awesome job in rehab and Spencer and like the opportunities and being close. Are you maybe organically just this positive, or because you all are in a little bit of a reset, it's more of a focus to remain positive and kind of create that positivity?
I think just as you go through an NFL journey, there's highs and lows. And for everyone, we go through that and we correct all the things that go wrong, and we certainly embrace all the things that are going well. And so, I think that's the only choice we have. The only choice we have is to keep growing, to keep getting better, start creating more and more habits that are going to lead us to winning. And so those are the things that we can control. The things that we've not done well enough, that we've, or games we've lost, those are all behind us. We all get to learn all those lessons. A lot of them are tough lessons, but we get to move forward, and that's what the NFL is. It's not easy. It's not always the fun goody two shoe type moments. There's a lot of challenges, and our guys just got to keep being resilient and keep moving. So, yeah.
Similar to that, the offense in particular looked so much. There were a lot of things that were different in week 4 than what we saw in week 1. You kind of precluded that. You mentioned that before we even got to it and everything. But I'm just when it comes to the idea of evolving an offense and changing things over the course of a year, changing things that aren't working, is that something you're just comfortable doing no matter what, even though we're used to people having a system that they want to run? Or like, where does that come from?
I think you have to go through that every single year. I can't think of a year where we don't evolve and become something as the season goes on. And I think that's, schematically, that's roster-wise, that's player-wise. Our group is developing together, through these first few weeks. And so there's going to be moments where, we're going to progress and head in a slightly different direction. I think at the end of the day, we got to run the football really well. We got to create play action opportunities off of it, and first and second down. Third down and red zone is where, you play the hard downs, and we got to be able to execute there. And so, how we get to that path has a lot of different ways. I feel comfortable with our guys' ability to handle the different paths that we need to take each week, because that's the fun part of this game. These opponents are all different, and they're all challenging, and you got to find a path that works.
And how much is that you steering the ship versus taking in, insight from other coaches, players, things like that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and so the feedback is the most important part of this thing, that we're all communicating. We can all have open dialogue, have conversations about that. The feedback on the sideline during the game from players, we had a couple in the game where the players, we were going to play with, players had an idea of just a minor adjustment, and absolutely, makes total sense, let's go. And so I think when you create that environment that allows these guys to keep growing and have the confidence to make the adjustments they need, I think that's where, the best offenses, the ones that, I feel like have executed at the highest level that I've been a part of, it's a very collaborative environment that allows us to create that.
Forgive me, but I have to ask, can you give an example of one of those moments in the last game where a player brought something to you and made that adjustment?
It's not going to be no home run plays, but just run plays that, gave us an opportunity maybe to make a little adjustment. And, every season that I've been a part of, I feel like when you get the players involved and they have the confidence in the plays, usually they're going to make it work.
The interception from the all the way through.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a play y'all have run before, so they couldn't have possibly seen that on tape for your offense. Is that a situation where it's kind of just a famous play that Cole Bishop was able to see, or what was your read?
He made an incredible play. I think, I think him in the corner, I assume, are working together. And as soon as Chris went around like a reverse, he kind of passed it off to him, and he was able to kind of play over the top and identify the pass. And so he made an incredible play. Obviously, it was unfortunate. Really big missed op. I took a chance, and it didn't work out. All right. Thanks, guys.
Fletcher grew up watching Jim Moore and Mike Ditka talk about you ever seen those videos? It's true. A little different.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Just saw that report, like my viral with people were posting it again. Yeah. There was a clip recently, some guy posted.
Jim Moore.
Yeah. It was across Wisconsin.
All right, how we doing? Good, good.
So coming out of that Buffalo game, what's the confidence level like for you before going into
getting back in front of the home?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a great team in Buffalo, played on the road, kept it tight, there till the end, and a few key plays. And that game's a little different. So that's kind of been the story of the year so far. Can change that around. That's our focus. Had a great day today in practice. We just got to keep building.
Kellen
told
the
us
few
that
key
you were.
plays. You remember, you mentioned the few key plays, and a lot of times, like, that's what an NFL game comes down to, right? It's like a couple of those plays. How do you and the offense, or really the team, go about getting on the other side of those key plays?
Just keep at it, focus in practice, getting extra reps on those timing routes. If we're running it at, a deeper depth in the game, let's make sure we work it in practice, vice versa. We got to be, work it on all levels, work all timing, continue to build that chemistry so we can hit those because, it's a game of inches and we've seen that, a few inches off and, these games are different. So, getting better at that, working on that, and it's a group thing.
Kellen had talked about how, you had earned, your first win based on the work that he's seen behind the scenes of practice and whatnot, that you have done well and earned that. And he also kind of praised your mentality throughout the process. You kind of worked to get that first win, and he commended that as well. What's been the key to staying kind of mentally sharp as you wait to get that first victory?
Yeah, you wish you already had one, but it's a team thing. It is what it is. You can't control it. It's in the past. We're focused on the future, so it'll come. We're working hard this week to get it this week, get it done for the team this week, so we can get a win on the board and hopefully start stacking them.
How pleased have you been with your own, personal progress throughout the couple weeks?
Feel good. I feel like I'm not playing losing football, which is good. Areas to improve, of course, just like everybody else, but feel good. I want to keep climbing, keep getting better, and, do even more. So, but I feel good. I feel like I'm not playing losing football, which is key, and just keep going out there. Playing to win, playing tough, and getting the ball to our playmakers.
I don't know if we've ever asked you, but what time do you get here every morning, and what's kind of the work that goes into all this? How do you go about your day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get here, hour and a half before we even start the day, maybe 2 hours before we start the day, and go over the install, what we got. Get in the tubs, do whatever we got to do to get ready for the day. Just get your mind right on a Wednesday, even on a Tuesday. We're in here getting after it and. Doing the extra, which is good. Everybody does the extra here, and the process is right, which is good. So continue that process. Add a little more each week, and let the outcome take care of itself.
Is the extra watching film outside of this? What do you mean by the extra?
I mean, film, tape, what at meetings, you name it. Extra throws after practice, just extra work.
And then is it kind of crazy that you can work so hard and the result isn't there yet? How do you kind of square those things?
It is what it is. You want to get a win. Process is right, like I said. Going in the right direction. It's just a few plays each game. We all got to clean up. I got to clean up, and we will. I'm confident about that. It's got to get done, and we got to get it done this week.
What do you see with this Giants front? No edge pass rushes they got in the middle and pretty disruptive front there.
Yeah, really good front. Probably one of the best in the league. We got to have a good plan for them. A lot of speed, a lot of power. On the back end, they don't do as much as what we've seen, from these other teams, disguise-wise. But they got their wrinkles and everything. But they run what they do well and can cause some havoc, to quarterbacks and offenses. So we got to get the ball out on time, take our shots when they're there, and just move the chains.
Do the losses mount?
What?
Do the losses mount each one? Is it? I don't know if it's harder and harder each week, but
No.
How much easier, or not maybe not easier is probably not the right word, but what's the impact of having a run game behind you like what you had in Buffalo?
It's huge. I mean, I think we ran the ball for 190 yards that game, and obviously more run-heavy game. But, you can kind of control your time of possession, get first downs on second down, stay ahead of the chains, and, it marries up with action game and keeper game, and kind of keeps the defense on their toes, especially when we go tempo, under center, running the ball, doing different things. So I enjoy being under center. Going back to last year, I kind of enjoyed it, but we can switch it up on this offense is which, what I kind of like. So, I think we ran the ball really well. That's a bright spot of our offense right now is from last game, of course, but guys are running it well. We're blocking good up front. We just got to keep that rolling.
So there's some layer of kind of development throughout the course of the season of the offense, but just watching the first 4 weeks, it feels like every week there are new wrinkles that are added from whether it's Kellen or whatever. Is that something you've kind of appreciated about this offense? Every week there's just something new that helps the offense succeed?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously everything's game plan specific to who we're playing, but I mean, we do a good job putting in the right plays. getting in the right opportunities. It just comes down to execution and hitting them in the game. And, if it's a run, if it's a pass, protection, everything. So we just all got to be on the same page out there and ultimately just score more points. We have opportunities every game down there. We got to score more points. And starting this week, that's our goal. We got to score more points.
The short motion handoffs to Alvin, which, how difficult is that to kind of get the timing right? And what is that? How does that help? Like, what does that kind of help the offense in terms of when you run there?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough on that defensive end. He's got to pick either the QB or Alvin. So, especially with that quick motion, I mean, it's tough on the end. And then if you execute it well, it's a good play. I think we got like 2 15-yard runs on that, which is great, especially on first down. So it's a good wrinkle. Another good thing. We do a lot of different things off of it. So I think that's a good part of our offense right there.
Spencer, what stood out to you when you went up against Jonas Sanker this summer, and I guess what you've seen from him since he's been going against you?
Yeah. I mean, his maturity, he's a rookie, but, he's got that, vet presence almost, I mean, I'm not a vet by any means, yet, but being around some guys, and he's very mature, very serious about his craft, being around him during camp, and he's a playmaker, he's in the right spots. And then you saw in the game, he balled out. So it's great to see. It brings juice to us as an offense. And he gets a big-time turnover at the 50. We got to go down and capitalize off that. So that's all we can ask for out of that side of the ball. And they did a great job. And Jonas he's a really good player.
I mean, did you take note of when you were facing him in the summer and you knew, like, he had, like, certain instincts? Like, when you say a playmaker, I know he did make a few during this.
He did. And he's got a good nose for the ball. Seems to always be in the right spot, and his reaction skills are really great. And you got to, he's got good eyes. He's a ball hawk back there, so you got to, make sure you hold him with your eyes when you're going against them for sure.
Brian Dable today said that you remember visiting your high school when he was at Alabama. Do you recall that interaction?
I recall that, yep. Yeah. No, we had a pretty good relationship. I mean, I remember him showing up during a weightlifting class when I was maybe sophomore year. I think he was at Alabama, and obviously met with him there, and I think they offered me that day, and then going to draft prep, did a visit up there, the whole deal, and had a great meeting with them, and got a lot of respect for Coach Daboll for sure.
Is it like kind of funny? I don't know if that's the right word, but like that you could be in the weight room and then like years later you're in the NFL draft room and like kind of the
yeah, it's small world, but obviously he climbed up the ranks, and I got a lot of respect for him. Always enjoyed my time around him.
And apologies on asking you more about the record, but like, have you noticed people trying to throw it in your face at all? Like there was a fan in Seattle holding an 0-8 sign at the time. Like, what do you kind of make of? Do you have to stay off social media? Like, what do you kind of do?
I mean, it is what it is. When you're the quarterback, it's going to be part of the territory. You want to get some wins, but again, it's all about the process. I mean, I'm sure there's been other guys to not start, get as much wins as they wanted to in the early part of their career. Obviously, different situations for everybody, as you know, but you can't trip over it. That's one thing I'm not worried about that. That's in the past. Let's focus on the future and, hopefully stack some wins here soon.
That's where's your ability to like be able to process that like that? Where did it kind of come from? Just
I mean, I think, being a quarterback, I think it comes with a lot of adversity from high school to college to now. So, I think a lot of QBs have already been through some sort of adversity, before the league, and then getting here, there's always going to be some adversity. So you got to fight through it, and just part of the position.
Good to see Taysom and Foster play out there.
Oh man, it's great to see those guys back out there. It's good energy. I know they're excited to be back out there. They've grinded their butts off, to get back. So it's big to have those guys back, and I'm excited to get out there with them.
Taysom throw it like he did. Like, what do you mean by that?
Hey, Taysom still got it, man. I'm not going to give too much intel on that, but he could do it all.
We're so used to thinking about him as, Scott does everything and whatnot, but has he been somebody you've been able to lean on from the quarterback perspective in your time here as well?
Yeah, he's been in our meetings, which is awesome. That's our vet in our meetings right there. He's been around Drew, seen how he's done it, and he gives me routine tips of how do I need to approach the week. He's seen how it's supposed to be done, and he's done it himself. So I'd be crazy not to ask advice from him a guy that's literally done it all in this league and got a lot of respect for him. He's a great guy, and it's even better when he's on the field. So I'm looking forward to that.
Does he give you, I mean, is there kind of help from him too, even just beyond throwing the football, but like you've increased your, rushing and kind of scrambling potential and everything so far this season? Has he been somebody to help with that?
Not with the rushing part, no. I don't want to run like him, but I don't think I could live doing that. But he's really smart guy. Coverage wise, he knows what he's seeing, and from all different positions, quarterback, running back, receiver. So it's good to ask him questions on the sideline during games throughout the week, see what he's seeing, and I like when he gives his input on maybe what I could do better, what we could do better.
In regards to that run game, you said you wanted to use your legs more. You obviously did so in the last game.
Yeah.
Are you happy with where that is at? Or are you over there asking Coach Moore for some design runs and different things like that?
Yeah, I'm happy where it's at. I want to keep doing that, keep using that. I think it's a good key to our offense. To keep drives going, get us in scoring positions. In key moments of the game, sometimes you have to run it. And you saw Josh Allen do the same thing. When you need it and you see a hole, just go and get it instead of going through your read. So. It's part of the game. I think I want to keep doing that, and Kellen does a good job of calling obviously the called QB runs, but I think the big ones happen when they're kind of off script.
What do you feel like you've done in terms of when rewatching the games, like noticing when or when not to take off? Like, there was maybe a throw there versus how do you feel like your balance has been when I'm bailing, it was the right decision to bail?
Yeah, I feel good about it. If you get a first down, it's always a good decision. And I feel like in that game I did, and there might be a 6-yard throw there on 3rd and 8, might get tackled at 6. So if you can go get it with your legs, go get it, save a hit. Got to be smart outside the pocket and not take too many shots. But I'm pass first and then run second. So definitely want to get the throws off. But if the rush lane's there, you got to go get it.
One of the big talking points has been about a couple of those in-breaking routes and the connections there and everything. What goes into making those connections, and how do you all continue to refine that?
Yeah, you just got to keep repping them. You're not going to be perfect throughout those games, but you want to hit those, and you have to hit those. So, I put that on me. Just keep working the timing, keep working the footwork, the chemistry with the guys, how we're going to run it. Like I said earlier, depending on where we're at on the field, we might rep it all week from the 10-yard line and get in the game, and it's on the 17. So the timing's off, but you got to make it work. Slow down your feet, and just you don't got to throw them as hard as you can. Just put it to a spot, let them make a play. But again, game of inches. You want those, you need those, and can't miss those anymore. Won't miss them.
And then just, you were talking about game plan earlier and the way that it shifts and changes weekly. How involved, what's your process with Kellen in terms of developing a game plan? Do you have a meeting with him where you say, I like this, I like that? How does that go?
Yeah, every Friday, I go up to his office and we talk about, favorites and normal D&D, third down, red zone, tempo, you name it. So I give him a list of stuff I'm comfortable with and what I like. And he does a great job of, there's nothing might be some plays I go in there and say, hey, I don't like this. It doesn't feel right to me. So we won't run that. But a lot of the plays I really like, and we run well. So I think he's got I thought he called a great game last game. And I know he's going to keep getting better. We're all going to keep getting better and get a feel for this thing. So just got to keep working at it. The process is right. Just got to go out there and put it all together, which we're close. And, I'm tired. We're sick of saying it, but it's time. So it's time to get it done. Time to go out there and do it. And got so much faith in this group, and we can go get it done.
How long do those meetings last?
They're not too long. It's Friday, fast Friday, so we're in and out. But get to the point. Talk through the game, what we're going to start with, what we're thinking, and I think it's a very beneficial meeting. Something that not all coaches do, but I really like how he does that.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.